see you all on a Friday. Thanks so much for joining us. It's November 17th, 2023, for those of you who don't know. Let's start with the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, will you please read the notice?
Adequate public notice has been given pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice has been posted at the board's office and website and emailed to the Department of State and to newspapers of broad circulation within the state.
And may we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Holden?
Here.
Commissioner Crystal DeLu?
Here.
Commissioner Abdul?
Here.
President Gould Sadovi?
Here. And our next board meeting is?
The next regular board meeting will be held on Wednesday, December 6, 2023. It'll be a hybrid meeting in person at the board hearing room at 44 South Clinton Avenue in Trenton and live stream via YouTube.
Thank you. There will be an executive session today. We will be discussing items 4A, 4B, 8H, and 8I. I expect it will take approximately 25 minutes. Will the Attorney General's office please explain the justification?
Good morning, Madam President. Good morning, Commissioners. Telecommunications items 4A and 4B and clean energy items 8H and 8I fall within the contract negotiation and attorney-client privilege exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act. These exceptions are found in New Jersey Statute 10:4-12B7.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We will be back soon.
Check. Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Okay, I should do that. There we go, we're back. Thank you, we're a little shorter than we anticipated, so hopefully everybody's back in the room who want and need to be. I'm going to make a few opening remarks today, so I appreciate your patience as we go through some of these things. Just want to start with our commitment to offshore wind. New Jersey is committed to building a thriving offshore wind industry and localizing the supply chain and economic development opportunities to the benefit of our residents and communities. Offshore wind is and continues to be the economic development opportunity of a generation and remains a key tool in climate change mitigation. We're committed to meeting our goal of generating 1,100 megawatts by 2040 and ensuring the Windport is positioned to be a marshaling and manufacturing hub for the entire region. Recent setbacks will not prevent us from moving forward with our commitment to offshore wind. We're looking forward to the decision on the third solicitation, which has been our most competitive yet, and we remain excited about the prospect for future generation and transmission solicitations. Moving on to energy assistance. As we enter the winter months, please don't wait until you're faced with a service disruption to seek help. The board is here to help. We have an excellent customer assistance department. The hotline is 800-624-0241, or you can go online to the BPU website. We work closely with the Department of Community Affairs and the utilities to ensure that no one has to lose service if they're struggling to pay their bills. We have several different utility programs to support people's ability to pay. First, the winter termination program, which just started this week, opened November 15th, and it runs to March 15th. It protects certain categories of low-income customers from disconnection. We also have the LIHEAP program, the PAGE program. The utilities have Fresh Start, and we want to make sure that everyone has access and support for helping to pay their bills in the event that they need that. So please do go to our website and make sure that you access those programs if you need them. Switching over to broadband, the Office of Broadband Connectivity has been working to create the blueprint to provide internet for all in New Jersey. We were successful in acquiring federal funding under two major programs, Broadband Equity Access and Deployment and the Digital Equity Act. As we plan how we'll use this funding, we're seeking public comment on implementation plans for each of these programs. The initial proposal split into two volumes for BEAD. Volume 1 deadline is November 29th, Volume 2 is December 8th, and the comment deadline for the draft digital equity plan is November 30th. So please do make sure that you review those plans and get your comments in on time. And then finally, moving to an organizational issue. The temporarily combined divisions of water and energy are being reorganized into the Division of Revenue and Rates and the Division of Engineering. Mike Kammer will be taking on a senior advisor role as his value in this institution cannot be overstated. Stacey Peterson will be the acting director of rates. We are hiring for a director of engineering and also hiring for a director of rates. We have other open positions as well, so if you or someone you know is interested, please take a look at our website for those open positions. As I think I've made very clear many times before, we are hiring. This department has an incredible agenda and a really amazing team of people, so we encourage you to look at our website, look at those open positions, and come and join the BPU team. Next week is Thanksgiving. As I don't think I need to remind everyone, but just want to make sure everyone has a happy Thanksgiving and a joyous holiday season. Any comments from my colleagues? Okay, thank you. The consent agenda.
On consent agenda items 3A, 3B, and 3C.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
On consent agenda items 9A.
This is, we have to do a separate roll call on this one, right?
Yes.
I'll move it.
Second.
Roll call for 9A. Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
I'm abstaining on only one portion of 9A. Do we need to call it out
the
separately?
which portion?
The
Yes.
April 26 minutes?
So that'll be, I will do the votes separately. So this would be the roll call vote for 9A excluding the April minutes. So I'm going to do that over. Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou? Yes. Commissioner Abdul? Yes. President Gosadovi?
Yes.
Ninth, on item for April 26th for 9A. Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Yes. You need to move it again and second again.
This is 3A, B, and C?
No, this is 9A,
We did
the
not-
April 26th.
For the April 26 minutes.
Okay, because we never called the roll on 3A, B, and C. Okay, 9A, I'll move it.
Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou? Yes. Commissioner Abdul?
Abstain.
President Gosadovi?
Abstain. Thank you. We will get that right at some point in time in the future. I think those are the second to last minutes, right?
Yes.
So we'll have another one of these next time around that we will try to get right.
Do we need to call roll on
We're going to call roll call vote
3?
back again for items 3A, 3B, and 3C.
Okay,
So moving was,
Me.
second was,
thank you.
Started again.
yes, I am. On consent agenda items, yes,
Next week is Thanksgiving.
right.
We're committed to offshore wind. Anything else? No. Go ahead.
On consent agenda items 3A, 3B, and 3C.
I'll move it.
And second?
Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
and President Gosadovi.
Yes, thank you. Anything else before we move into the regular agenda that we might be missing?
At least you don't forget consent.
Well, they write things down for me, so I don't have to worry about forgetting. Okay, so we are starting with Stacy Peterson in Energy. Hi, Stacy.
Good morning, Commissioners. On February 15th, Atlantic City Electric filed a petition seeking approval of an increase in its base rates of approximately $105 million, excluding sales and use tax, which was subsequently updated to $92 million. Through the course of the proceeding, the parties held numerous discovery and settlement conferences, which resulted in the execution of a stipulation resolving the matter. The stipulation was subsequently approved by Administrative Law Judge Gertzman. Based on the stipulation, ACE would implement an overall revenue increase of $45 million over 2 phases. The Phase 1 revenue requirement increase is $36 million, effective December 1st. In Phase 2, the company would be provided an opportunity to increase its revenues by an additional amount not to exceed $9 million, effective on or about February 1st, 2024. Which may be reduced if ACE fails to activate at least 200,000 AMI meters by December 31st. The parties have also agreed to a return on equity of 9.6% and the resolution of several proposed regulatory assets. As a result of the stipulation, for Phase 1, a typical residential customer would see a monthly increase of $5.16. Based on the company achieving 100% of its Phase 2 obligations, the overall monthly impact of Phase 2 would be an additional 93 cents. Staff recommends that the board adopt the initial decision and approve the stipulation and direct ACE to file revised tariffs by November 30th.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Just a couple things from me. Just want to be clear that this adjustment reflects approximately half of the company's request. It includes a recovery of significant investments that ACE has made in infrastructure and reliability and improvements to the system. Staff and rate counsel and all parties thoroughly reviewed all of the costs for which a utility asks for recovery. And just want to remind everyone that there are assistance programs available if they need help. Can we have a roll call, please?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Gosadovi.
Yes. Thank you. Next, still with us.
I'll stay for a little bit. Thank you.
Stay to the end if you don't mind.
Okay, I'll try.
Thank you.
On August 8th, 2023, PS&S Architecture and Engineering, PC, filed a petition seeking a waiver of the provision of PSE&G's gas tariff that requires individual gas meters in residential buildings. On September 29th, PSE&G filed a motion to intervene. Staff recommends that the board retain the matter for hearing, designate a presiding commissioner, and set a bar date of December 8th, 2023. Staff further recommends that the board grant PSE&G's motion to intervene.
So moved. Sorry.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? The designee is Commissioner Holden. No. Me on this
Oh, you?
Sorry, that one they didn't write down for me. Okay. All right, thank you. Can we have a roll call, please?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou? Yes. Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gosadovi?
Yes, thank you. Stacy, still with us.
Still with you, and this one's a little bit longer. It's the annual BGS, so just bear with me. This is a recommendation for securing electric power supplies for basic generation service customers for the period beginning June 1, 2024. By way of background, the board issued an order in April of this year, opening a proceeding to determine how to procure the remaining one-third of the state's RSCP and the annual CIEP requirements for the period beginning June 1, 2024. The EDCs made a joint filing on June 30th. Additionally, as part of its company-specific addendum, Rockland made a proposal to procure the energy and capacity requirements of its non-PJM customers within New Jersey for the period beginning June 1, 2024. The board received initial and final comments, and a legislative-type hearing was held on September 18th. Staff's full recommendations have been set forth in the agenda memo and commissioner briefings, but there are a few issues I'd like to describe here. Similar to last year, one supplier requested modifications that would increase transparency regarding the contract valuation and sought further clarity in certain information and calculations provided to suppliers. No party opposed the request, but there were some requested modifications consistent with the board's approval last year. Staff recommends the board approve these changes to the supplier master agreements, along with the modifications and provisions proposed by other parties, including a requirement that the EDCs notify the board and rate council by January 31st, indicating whether or not the changes have been implemented. In November 2022, the board directed staff to work with interested parties to attempt to find an electric vehicle rate design solution before the filing of the 2024 proposal. Each EDC has included a proposal regarding a rate design for DCFC stations. Staff notes that each EDC proposed a pilot program with a 1 to 2 year term, but each EDC's proposed pilot is unique. No party opposed the implementation of the pilot programs, but there were several suggested modifications. Following review of the proposal and comments received, staff recommends the board authorize the EDCs to implement 2-year pilot programs and direct the EDCs to file an update in the 2025 BGS proposal on the status of the pilot programs. As JCP&L only proposed a 1-year pilot, staff recommends the board direct JCP&L to modify its proposal to be a 2-year pilot program. Staff also recommends that the board direct the EDCs to modify their programs to allow new entrants in year 2 of the program, subject to the same enrollment timelines. Staff further recommends the board direct the EDCs to continue to collect data subject to customer consent and submit semi-annual reports to the board and rate council as previously directed. To summarize, with the modifications suggested, staff recommends the board approve the descending clock auction process, auction rules, board approval process, and supplier master agreements that were proposed by the EDCs. Staff also recommends that the board require each of the EDCs to file amended compliance filings by December 4th and authorize staff to review the compliance filings and request that a secretary's letter be issued if the filings are found to be compliant.
So moved.
Any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou? Yes. Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gosadovi?
Yes. Thank you. Stacy?
On June 1st, Elizabethtown Gas filed a petition seeking approval to increase its periodic BGSS rate and to modify its conservation incentive program rates effective October 1st. Through the course of the proceeding, Elizabethtown updated its schedules to reflect more recent information. Additionally, on October 30th, Elizabethtown filed an emergent motion to waive the deadline for providing notice of a provisional increase in the BGSS rate effective December 1st. Following an initial review and discussions, the parties determined that while additional time is needed, it is reasonable and in the public interest for Elizabethtown to implement a modified BGSS, P, and CIP rates on a provisional basis. Parties have executed a stipulation that would allow Elizabethtown to implement its updated SIP rates effective December 1st and a provisional BGSS P rate effective March 1st, 2024. Additionally, the stipulation recommends the board approve Elizabethtown's emergent motion. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential heating customer will see a monthly bill increase of $12.80 effective December 1st. Staff recommends the board approve the stipulation and direct Elizabethtown to file revised tariffs by December 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Just want to remind folks that today, what we are considering today is provisional and subject to refund after a full review of the filing and supporting documentation. And again, want to remind everyone about the state's energy assistance programs if you need that support. Thank you. 2E, still going? Sorry,
It's us.
that's us. Roll call, please.
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou, Commissioner Abdu,
Yes.
President Gosadovi.
Yes.
All right.
2E, thanks.
On July 17th, PSE&G filed a petition seeking review and approval to recover costs incurred due to the COVID-19 pandemic through a special purpose clause and the societal benefits charge. At this time, staff recommends that the board retain this matter, designate a presiding commissioner, and set a bar date of December 22nd, 2023.
This one is Commissioner Holden.
Sorry, trying
Thank
to
you.
steal your rice bowl there.
That's
So moved.
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdu,
Yes.
President Gosadovi.
Yes. Thank you, Stacy. Moving on to telecommunications. Henry? I want to acknowledge that this is Henry's first presentation before the board. I don't have any embarrassing comments, but I leave that open for any of my colleagues who might want to say something. Henry, you start us off with 4A.
Thank you very much. Madam President and Commissioners, this matter involves a staff recommendation for the board to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority for federal broadband funding application support. Since 2020, hundreds of billions of dollars of federal grant funding have become available due to the Inflation Reduction Act, Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, and the CHIPS and Science Act. In October 2022, the National Telecommunications and Information Administration awarded New Jersey approximately $1.2 million pursuant to the Digital Equity Planning Grant Program. In November 2022, NTIA awarded New Jersey its initial planning grant under the Broadband Access, Equity, and Deployment Program for approximately $4.9 million. In June 2023, the Biden administration announced that New Jersey was allocated over $263 million in the BEAD program's available funding. To assist in the development of federal broadband grant applications, staff recommends that the board distribute DEA and BEAD planning grant funding through an MOU with EDA in an amount not to exceed $1.7 million. Staff also recommends that the board authorize President Gosadovi to sign the MOU on behalf of the board.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou, Commissioner Abdu,
Yes.
President Gosadovi.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Valerie? Great. There you go.
Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners. Earlier in executive session, I made a presentation to you detailing the request to approve the MOU with Department of Community Affairs in the amount of $52,768,000 to assist the board with implementing the NJ-BIDE program. Staff also recommended that the board authorize President Christine Gould-Sadovi to sign the MOU on behalf of the board. Based on these discussions, I ask that you approve the MOU with DCA in the amount of $52,768,000. And in addition, staff also recommend the board authorize President Christine Gould-Sadovi to sign the MOU on behalf of the board. Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLune? Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gould-Sadovi?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Valerie. All right, we're really moving through this today on a Friday. Going right to Diane with Clean Energy.
Good morning, Madam President and Commissioners. This agenda item involves the adoption of proposed amendments in the New Jersey Administrative Code, Title 14, Chapter 8, Subchapter 11, which sets forth the rules for the successor solar incentive program. The proposed rule amendments establish and implement the Competitive Solar Incentive, or CSI program, open to all grid supply solar installations and net metered non-residential solar facilities with a capacity greater than 5 megawatts. The proposed rule was published in the New Jersey Register at 55 NJR 127 for a 60-day comment period on February 6, 2023, and a notice of correction was issued March 20th, 2023. The public comment period closed for the notice of proposal on April 7th, 2023, and for the notice of correction on May 19th, 2023. Staff recommends that the board adopt the proposed rule with non-substantive changes and approve its publication in the New Jersey Register. Staff also recommends that the board vote separately to approve 2 substantial changes upon adoption at proposed NJAC 14:8-11.5D24 and amendments to language for permitting requirements for registrants in the CSI program, and at NJEC 14:8-11.10J, additions allowing for revisions to the confidential price caps established for a solicitation based on an updated assessment of market conditions, board discretion in awarding competitive bids above the price cap, the adjustment of megawatt targets allocated per tranche, and the rejection of bids above the price cap where the board determines that the bid prices are not competitive and/or are not fiscally responsible. The proposed rule change will be published in the New Jersey Register for the purpose of providing notice and allow for the submittal of comments.
Thank you.
So moved.
Thank you. While it was disappointing not to have awards in the spring, we are moving forward. We're committed to making this a competitive process and to meeting that legislative objective of 300 megawatts per year. This item provides the board with more flexibility to accept bids that are competitive, but we need the developers to do their part. We're waiving the bid fee for projects that participated in the first solicitation.
I think that's the second item that we haven't addressed yet.
Sorry, second one. Yes. Please, go ahead.
Call the roll.
Roll call. Yes, thanks.
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLune? Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gould-Sadovi?
Yes,
As I was saying.
as I was saying, sorry. Go ahead, Diane.
So I think this item needs 2 votes.
Yes, we need 2 votes on this item. First vote would be to approve staff's recommendation to adopt the proposed rule. And then we would vote a second time on staff's recommendation to approve the 2 substantial changes for publication in the register.
I'm going to look to the secretary to,
Yes. So this would be for item 8A. So we're going to do the first vote again, and then we're going to do the second vote for the second part that you just said. So on a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Sorry, can you just clarify? Yeah, let's,
Thank you, Commissioners. Staff has made 2 recommendations that each require separate votes. On staff's recommendation to adopt the proposed rule with non-substantive changes,
We voted.
may we have a motion?
thank you.
Again? Okay, sure. I'll move it.
Now roll call, please.
Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLu, Commissioner Abdul, President goes to vote.
Yes.
Thank you. And on staff's recommendation that the board approve 2 substantial changes on adoption and permit those changes to be published in the register for public comment.
Is this still under 8A?
It is still under 8A. Thank you.
That was the problem. I will move it.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLu, Commissioner Abdul, President goes to Dovey.
Yes, we'll try to get this right at some point.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Go ahead, Diane. Thank you.
This second item is about establishing confidential price caps for each tranche in the second solicitation of the Competitive Solar Incentive, the CSI program. The CSI program is open to qualifying grid supply solar installations and non-residential net metered solar installations with a capacity greater than 5 megawatts, as well as to eligible grid supply solar installations in combination with energy storage. The pre-qualification window for the CSI program's second solicitation opens November 27th, 2023, and the bid submission will close on February 29th, 2024. In the December 7th, 2022 order establishing the CSI program, the board reserved the right to establish confidential predetermined price caps for any or all tranches prior to close of the solicitation. Confidential price caps serve as a protective mechanism for ratepayers against excessive incentive levels in the event of a low competition. Staff recommends that the board establishes confidential price caps for all tranches in which projects will compete during this second CSI program solicitation based on an assessment of market conditions. That is, the price caps are based on an assessment of market conditions. Staff recognizes that the different project types per tranche carry different costs and revenues, and has sought to balance the developer's ability to seek a viable incentive with effective ratepayer protections. To do so, staff recommends that the price caps differentiate among and be specific to the 5 tranches in the CSI program. Staff recommends that the confidential price caps for tranches 2 and 3 are set 15% and 32% higher, respectively, than the cap set for tranche 1. Staff further recommends that the price cap for net metered non-residential public entity projects participating in tranche 4 be set $20 higher than the cap for other projects in this tranche. Staff recognizes the board's responsibility to maintain sensitivity to changes in market conditions throughout the solicitation, and thus recommends that the board implement additional mechanisms to retain a level of responsiveness to these changes and allow for successful bids.
Thank you.
Participants in CSI program solicitations must provide evidence of project eligibility and maturity and pay $1,000 per megawatt bid participation fee designed to protect against speculative projects receiving awards. Staff recognizes that while no awards were made in the first CSI program solicitation, participants demonstrated commitment such that staff considers that these bidders are not speculative. For this second CSI program solicitation, staff recommends that the board waive the bid fee for developers who submit a substantially similar project to a project they submitted in the first solicitation. A project would be considered substantially similar if its footprint overlaps the first project's footprint. The amount of the bid fee waived should be capped at the amount of the bid fee paid for said project's participation in the first solicitation. Staff does not recommend refunding any portion of the bid fee if the project is smaller than initially submitted. Finally, staff recommends that the board waive for participants that receive an award in the second CSI program solicitation opening November 27, 2023, the registration requirement for electrical and building permits or documentation that applications for electrical and building permits have been submitted to the relevant municipality.
Thank you.
I'll move it for discussion.
Okay. back to my previous comment. Again, we're waiving the bid fee for projects that participated. We're inviting developers to put their best foot forward. And again, the goal of the program is to accelerate solar development at the lowest cost and to ensure that we have competition.
I don't know where to start. Some of this was new to me. You were just saying that was not presented in our briefing, and I'm a little confused. Can you elaborate on how you established the second round cap? And you had something in your, that wasn't even close to what we were briefed, what I was briefed on.
First off, I wish to apologize that was the case. The caps, so with the first solicitation, the board directed staff to, and our advisor, Daymark Energy Advisors, to perform an evaluation of the first solicitation. And doing a comprehensive post-award analysis, looking at the market-based data at the end of the first solicitation. From that evaluation, we determined an appropriate price level for market conditions currently. With those caps, recognizing that the caps need to differentiate between tranches, we have a cap for the first, so tranche number 1 is our basic grid supply cap. And from that cap, we have based that as our cap for that first tranche. Tranche number 2, which is grid supply on the built environment, and tranche number 3, grid supply on contaminated sites and landfills. We understand that each of those tranches carry unique costs with them, and we have recommended price caps that are different based on estimated costs for those tranches.
Right, so the percentage is based only on this.
I understand that, but I had no discussion about round 3 or tranche 3 and this percentage being stated.
I believe one of the concerns is about the percentages increase that you talked about. And it's my belief as a businessman for decades, management professor and consultant for similar decades, that we should expect businesses to be more efficient as they look to price out things going forward. And that disequilibria between supply and demand is not just borne out by one factor, and by one part of that equation, but by both. So it is my understanding and expectation that our developers will find ways to sharpen their pencils, save ratepayers money, and be able to come in below what we expect, not for us to increase to meet their needs. So I'm a little bit concerned about how we're approaching this, but I am fully confident that the developers will find a way to achieve what we all in business know as management efficiencies and cost containment. I believe the economy is stabilizing. Interest rates in the long term are looking to stabilize and then perhaps come down. Supply chains are loosening up. And we're looking, as everyone knows, to expand this project, this solar industry, which can only mean that economies of scale will be achieved sooner than later. So it's my belief that they should be expected to save ratepayers money, and that I have full expectations that we will award to people who are as competitive as possible, bringing down their prices to achieve ratepayer savings.
Yes, I agree 100%. I think the flexibility for us is important. And so, that's, while I agree with you, I think, it's important that we have the flexibility to review and reevaluate if necessary going forward, which we didn't allow ourselves previously. And, I think we learned from that. Veronique, do you want to?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to address Commissioner Holden's concern. And I think there is a misunderstanding. There's no change versus anything you've heard in the briefing. The percentages refer to the differences between the tranches in the price cap. They have nothing to do with any changes in any price caps, if there would be any. So that the price caps have been confidential in round one, are confidential in round two. There is not, there's nothing in there that staff has indicated that there would be a difference between round one and two of the percentages that I mentioned. This is just between tranche one and tranche two and three in the second solicitation.
Right, the percentages are not based on the previous solicitation. They're only based on the existing, what is before us today, between the three different tranches.
And there's also nothing said about solicitation three, because that is ahead of us, and there will.
Right, let's get through solicitation 2 before we talk about solicitation 3.
And perhaps the cap hasn't changed at all. So I agree with Commissioner Christodoulou. Sharpen your pencils, please. Otherwise, I will support this. I just needed clarification on this.
And
I
that's
just
important.
Reiterate one more time that I believe market conditions are improving significantly, which will drive down cost of development and cost to the ratepayers.
All right. Never boring today. Can I have a motion, please? No, I think
We moved in second.
oh, that was just for the discussion.
No, but we can proceed to the roll call.
Go ahead, roll call. Thanks.
Sorry about that.
To approve staff's recommendation. Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Gulsadovi.
Yes. Thank you, and thanks for jumping in, Veronique, with Diane. All right, moving right along. Let's see. Laura is up. Okay, Laura, whenever you're ready.
Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners.
If you could talk a little bit closer to the mic, that would be great. Thanks.
Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners. Is that better? Okay. This agenda item pertains to the petition filed on October 11th, 2022 by ESNJ Key Gibbstown LLC, requesting an extension of the deadline to complete project requirements in the Transition Incentive or TI program. The October 2022 petition represents petitioner's second request for an extension to the TI program registration deadline with the board for a 1.38 megawatt net metered non-residential carport solar project located in Gibbstown, New Jersey. In their first petition, petitioner made the case that delays in the construction of the interconnection upgrades from the Atlantic City Electric Company, or ACE, were the sole reason for the extension request. Subsequently, on June 8th, 2022, the board issued an order known as the Gibbstown Order, granting a conditional 6-month extension for the project. Petitioner received an extension of the project's TI application date to October 30th, 2022, by complying with the conditions of the Gibbstown Order for an extension. Since the fact pattern of the second petition follows the first, staff recommends that the board conditionally grant an extension to the petition to the project's TI program deadline, subject to petitioner providing supplemental information to substantiate certain claims made in the petition. Staff recommends that if petitioner meets these conditions, the board extend the project's time to meet the TI program requirements to 30 days past the date on which the project receives permission to operate, or PTO. Should there be any deficiencies in the post-construction certification package, the time to cure these deficiencies should be governed by the standard administratively determined incentive, or ADI program practice. If petitioner cannot meet the conditions prescribed by staff to obtain an extension to their TI program registration deadline, or if the post-construction certification package is not submitted in accordance with the ADI program rules within 30 days following receipt of PTO, if such an extension is approved, staff recommends that the board allow the TI Program Administrator to process the final as-built paperwork for the 50 kilowatt measured in alternating current portion of the system that has received conditional PTO from ACE, and allow the petitioner to register the remaining capacity as a separate project in the ADI program.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second?
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gulsadovy?
Yes. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Veronique?
Good morning again, Madam President, Commissioners. This agenda item involves the petition Ameresco Inc. filed on May 10, 2022, requesting that the board grant an extension of time to commence commercial operation for its Air Force solar energy projects at Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst. The projects are currently registered in the Transition Incentive or TI program, and the capacity for the 34 project totals 17.3 megawatts. While the Joint Base does not qualify as a public entity under the board's definitions, staff believes that several factors which prompted the board to grant extensions to public entity projects do apply here. Like public entity projects, the projects seeking extensions have been subject to public procurement processes, some of which have arguably led to considerable delays. In addition, the petitioner makes a compelling argument that the projects provide public benefits beyond the solar development that they enable. The board has previously recognized that the Joint Base occupies a unique position in the state as a federal military installation and deserves special consideration. Staff recommends that the board grant the petition. In addition, because several of the projects seeking extensions have not and will not receive PTO from an electric distribution company, staff recommends that the board order the petitioner to submit to the TI program's administrator a signed and dated copy of an inspection report by a licensed professional engineer verifying that the installation was inspected and installed in accordance with National Electric Code requirements.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second?
Questions or comments?
Just that, I know this was a gray area, and I think that you judiciously decided this in the right way. Your suggestions are well taken. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gulsadovy?
Yes, thank you. We are moving on to 8E, and Dustin, come on down.
Morning, Madam President and Commissioners. Bayonne Redevelopers Residential Urban Renewal submitted an application under the Pay for Performance New Construction Program, requesting board approval of a financial incentive of $557,327.76 for the installation of energy-efficient measures at a 5-story, 453,112 square foot multifamily property at Harbor Station South, Block 70 in Bayonne. If approved, this application would cover the installation of above-code windows, high-efficiency LED lighting, Energy Star appliances, low-flow faucets and shower heads, electric hot water heaters, and packaged through-the-wall heating and cooling systems for dwelling units, and heat pumps, furnaces, and electric heating for common and support areas. Annually, this project is estimated to conserve 363,125 kilowatt hours of electricity, 10,278 therms of natural gas, and 154.6 kilowatts in peak demand. It will also save an estimated $86,217.86 in annual energy costs. Staff recommends approval of the application for the total estimated incentive amount.
So moved.
Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue? Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gulsadovy?
Yes. Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you.
Dustin. Randy.
Good morning, Madam President and Commissioners. This matter pertains to the next round of the Community Energy Plan, or CEP, grant program and the establishment of a new Community Energy Plan Implementation Grant Program in fiscal year 2024. The Community Energy Plan Grant Program supports municipalities to create localized energy plans aligned with New Jersey's Energy Master Plan. The current fiscal year 2024, represents the third year of planning grants. The first year had 3 awardees, and the second had 46 awardees, 24 of which were overburdened municipalities. The board budgeted $1 million for the program last year. Of that amount, $820,000 has been committed and $700,000 spent to date. Staff worked with Sustainable Jersey, our partner in delivering this program, to review lessons learned from the last round of planning grants and to find ways to improve the program. Staff identified changes that we believe will help create a more effective program for participants. The recommended changes are as follows. First, a shortened grant term from 18 months to 12 months. This will create a more streamlined process and help to keep municipalities engaged in each step. Second, the requirement that municipalities submit a proposed budget at the time of application will be delayed to later in the process. This will allow municipalities more time to develop a budget that will better fit their needs. Third, the expansion of the criteria to determine overburdened municipalities, specifically expanding the required threshold for qualifying using the Municipal Revitalization Index. The planning grants program would continue to prioritize low and moderate income and overburdened municipalities by providing additional financial and technical support to these communities in applying for the grant and developing their community energy plans. Funding for the next round of planning grants would come from New Jersey's Clean Energy Program General Fund in the amount of $4,574,034. The application window would open on or around November 27th. During the review of the planning grants program, staff also worked to develop a framework for a new implementation grants program. Funding for implementation grants would come from 2 sources. $2,414,180 from the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant, or EECBG program, a program offered by U.S. Department of Energy that provides direct formula grants to states and local governments. An additional $1 million would come from New Jersey's Clean Energy Program General Fund. As part of EECBG program requirements, at least 60% of funds shall be subgranted to municipalities that are not already eligible for direct formula funding. The goal of the implementation program would be to provide equitable grant distribution with a simple and inclusive application process. To qualify for an implementation grant, staff recommends that a municipality shall have completed a community energy plan. This plan may be completed through the CEP grant program, or the municipality may develop an equivalent plan without having participated in the CEP grant program. An equivalent plan is one that uses the work plan template required in the CEP grant program and aligns with New Jersey's Energy Master Plan. The maximum implementation grant would be $250,000. This funding could be applied to one project or several smaller projects bundled together. In accordance with the Federal Justice 40 initiative, 40% of funding would be held for overburdened municipalities. The application window for this grant program would open on or around November 27th, the same date as the planning grant program. In closing, staff recommends that the board approve the proposed changes to the Community Energy Plan Grant Program and the establishment of the Community Energy Plan Implementation Grant Program.
Thank you, Brandy.
So moved.
Thank you. This is really exciting. I just had the opportunity to speak at the Sustainable Jersey Luncheon earlier this week, and to see all of the work that the municipalities, towns, school districts, counties all across New Jersey are doing was really excellent. And, you know, we can't do this alone. We have to have the support of all of our local governments in moving forward with helping to conserve energy, conserve water, mitigate the impacts of climate change, invest in resiliency. And so, I just want to commend you, Brandy, and all of the towns throughout New Jersey that have been participating in these programs.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLune? Yes. Commissioner Abdul? Yes. President Gulsadovy?
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Ferris. My time, right? Yes, it's your time, sorry. You don't need my cue.
Good morning, President and Commissioners.
Good morning.
On October 28th, 2022, October 26th, 2022, the board awarded offshore wind transmission projects resulting from the PJM Interconnection LLC, or PJM, solicitation utilizing the PJM State Agreement Approach, or SAA. In the order awarding the transmission projects, the board gave special attention to the duct banks and associated cable access vaults that would be used by subsequent qualified offshore wind projects to access the point of interconnection, or POI, designated in the SAA awards. The board noted that installing these ducts and access vaults in a single construction effort would minimize environmental and community impacts by resulting in a single shore crossing and a single or limited onshore corridor to the POI. Installing these facilities at one time for future use was called the pre-build infrastructure, or PBI. The PBI would be constructed between the landing point identified in the SAA project awards, the Seagirt National Guard Training Center, and the awarded POI, with the PJM High Voltage Electric Grid, the Larrabee Collector Station, or LCS. The SAA award order contemplated the PBI being procured as part of the third offshore wind solicitation, and a request for proposals for the PBI was included in the third solicitation guidance document, or SGD, approved by the board on March 6, 2023. The SGD required each applicant to the third offshore wind solicitation to submit a separate application for the construction of the PBI to support 4 future qualified offshore wind projects in accordance with the requirements contained in the SGD. The SGD required that cost recovery for the PBI would be through the Offshore Wind Renewable Energy Certificate, or OREC, funding mechanism. And as a result, the SGD also stated that the PBI, if awarded by the board, could only be awarded to a third offshore wind solicitation applicant who also received an award as a qualified offshore wind project. However, the SGD noted that the potential remained for the SAA projects to be modified to include the PBI. All applicants to the third offshore wind solicitation submitted PBI proposals. Staff reviewed the proposals and found that the proposed cost of the PBI, utilizing the OREC funding mechanism and subject to the requirement that the PBI could only be awarded to an applicant who also received an award as a qualified offshore wind project, represented an unreasonable burden for New Jersey's ratepayers. After a review of the PBI proposals submitted by the third offshore wind solicitation applicants, staff determined that a separate solicitation for the PBI, open to applicants pre-qualified by PJM through PJM's pre-qualification planning process as eligible to be a designated entity, including transmission developers, transmission owners, offshore wind generation developers, and other qualified firms, would increase competition and could lead to ratepayer savings. On October 25, 2023, the board rejected all of the PBI proposals submitted in response to the third offshore wind solicitation and directed staff to develop a separate solicitation for the PBI. Since the third offshore wind solicitation was structured such that the generation project applications and the PBI applications were to be separate and not dependent upon each other, rejecting the third offshore wind solicitation PBI proposals did not affect the offshore wind generation applications. As directed by the board, staff developed a pre-build solicitation guidance document, or PBI SGD. The PBI SGD contains all requirements for bidders to submit PBI proposals, including requirements for cost recovery through transmission rates approved by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and recommendations for cost containment and project completion commitments. Staff recommends that the board approve the PBI SGD and open a board-run solicitation for the PBI, commencing today, and closing at 5 p.m. on April 3rd, 2024.
So moved.
Great, thank you. Questions or comments?
Just a question and a comment. I think this is going to help ratepayers a lot. I think being able to open up to more competition isn't just going to be a right thing to do in theory, but in practice, it's going to allow us to reduce the costs on these things that we can pass on to ratepayers. So that's great. Jim, one quick question. Nothing major, but the pre-qualified designated entities, the PJM, if somebody's not already currently pre-qualified, if somebody applies today, how long will it take them to get through PJM's queue?
PJM has indicated that that process is not very lengthy in terms of.
The window's big enough for people to apply today to be qualified before these things are closed, right?
Yes, we've coordinated with PJM on that, and the answer is yes.
That'll open it to even more competition.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLue?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul? Yes. President Gulsadovi?
Yes. Thanks, Jim. Henry's coming back to us.
Oh, no.
I know. Another opportunity for embarrassing comments, Henry.
Henry, don't worry. I will not say anything to embarrass you. I'll let you do that yourself.
Thank you very, thank you very much, Commissioner. Hello, Madam President and Commissioners. This matter involves a staff recommendation for the board to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority for federal clean energy funding application support. Since 2020, hundreds of billions of dollars of federal grant funding have become available due to the IRA, Infrastructure Jobs and Investment Act, and CHIPS Act. The IRA alone features $369 billion in energy security and climate change programs over the next 10 years. If approved, the board would distribute New Jersey Clean Energy Program funds in the amount of $4.5 million to EDA for contractor assistance with applications under the relevant federal grant programs. Staff recommends that the board approve the MOU with EDA in the amount of $4.5 million for federal clean energy funding, application contractor assistance. Staff also recommends the board authorize President Gulsadovi to sign the MOU on behalf of the board.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second?
Any questions or comments? Received, Henry.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLue?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul? President Gulsadovi?
Yes. Thank you. Mercifully, we are at the last item. No.
Oh, no.
I
don't like
Kevin. Kevin, unless there are embarrassing comments from my colleagues, no. Okay, please proceed.
Good morning, Commissioners. This item pertains to the School and Small Business Energy Efficiency Stimulus Program, which was created by the board in October of 2021. This program consists of the School and Small Business Non-Compliant Plumbing Fixture and Appliance Program and the School and Small Business Ventilation and Energy Efficiency Verification and Repair Program. These programs are designed to provide grants to schools and small businesses for the installation of certain heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems, and energy efficient and water conserving appliances and fixtures, and to improve air quality, energy efficiency in school districts and small businesses. This program is funded by $180 million of federal funding made available to the board through the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. To receive this federal funding, the board entered into a memorandum of understanding with the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs on October 8th, 2021. This item will update the original 2021 MOU to clarify language in the MOU pertaining to the integrity monitor that the board was required to procure for the program. It will include the integrity monitor guidance document as an exhibit to the MOU. It will clarify that the chief fiscal officer is the accountability officer for the board. It will include language that the board is authorized to reallocate funding between budget categories pursuant to the fiscal year 2023 and fiscal year 2024 state budgets. It'll make other non-substantive changes to the MOU to reflect the current status of the program. Staff recommends that the board approve the amendments to the MOU and authorize President Gulsadovi to sign the new MOU on behalf of the board.
So moved.
Second?
Questions or comments? You received, Kevin. Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul? President Gulcedovi?
Yes. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
So that ends the formal agenda, thankfully, today. I do just want to take a moment to thank staff. You know, this was a complex agenda, and I just want to say I appreciate all of the work that the staff has done to bring this forward today on a Friday. And so I look forward to continuing the work that we are doing. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn. Aye, aye, aye.